Hi, my name is Mike Leach and I'm the GIS Program Coordinator at ESA. I wanted to demonstrate a web-based mapping application and tool that we believe would be an effective way for sharing information about the Hood Canal Integrated Watershed Management Plan and in-lieu fee mitigation program with your stakeholders and partners. This tool uses ArcGIS Explorer Online and the Microsoft Silverlight API and can be accessed easily from your existing web page. For this demonstration, we have 7 layers in the table of contents. We've selected these layers as representative examples for this customized site. We also have a series of base maps that we can switch to and from at any given time during the project. For example, we can turn on the Bing Maps Roads layer to display major and minor roads for any given area. There's also terrain with labels that shows elevation and topography within a given area. And there's also various sources of air photo imagery provided by sources like Bing and Esri. And for this demonstration, we're going to be using the Bing Maps Hybrid as our base map. Now, if we open back up the layers in the table of contents, we can turn on the Hood Canal watershed. If I double click on the layer here, we can zoom in to the extent of any given layer. We know that the watershed boundary is divided into multiple assessment units and sub-watersheds. We're also going to turn on the Ecology's watershed characterization results for water flow to show the relative importance of these sub-watersheds for protection and restoration. The legend also shows what the various colors represent. If I click on one of these sub-watersheds, I can bring up the attribute information for that given area. You'll notice that the Department of Ecology's restoration and protection categories are explained, along with a matrix that shows how the rating is derived based on the levels of importance and level of impairment. If you click on the matrix, you can also find out more information about the watershed characterization project on the Ecology's website. Now, if I zoom to a different extent in the Hood Canal watershed, I can use something called a spatial bookmark. And the spatial bookmark provides captures of spatial extents within the project area that we want the user to be able to easily access and zoom into. And in this example, we want to take a closer look at the nearshore environment. So we're going to take a look at the Pisnerp drift cells, and by turning on this layer, we can see that there's various categories of drift cells, and if I click on one of those drift cells examples, I can see that in this area there's a right to left facing the shore drift cell direction. There's other key information that we can put on this site in the nearshore environment. So let's zoom over to the Duckabush estuary to take a closer look. The Duckabush estuary may be a high priority receiving site for mitigation or conservation. At this location, we can explore some of the key features such as eelgrass coverage. And here we can see in the Duckabush estuary that the eelgrass coverage is a continuous eelgrass bed. However, if we zoom just a little bit further out in extent, we can see that adjacent to the estuary there are some areas that are patchy and somewhat absent in terms of its eelgrass coverage along the shoreline. Let's go back down to the estuary itself, and let's say we wanted to develop a conceptual design for this site to document the planned mitigation activities. Now what we can do is we can pull up some of the existing information like the design drawings so the stakeholders can see what is proposed. We can also include information like the ledger to get all the details of the credit-debit transaction. So we can have access to all the information from the ledger here. Now let's zoom back out to the extent of the watershed. And I'm going to show you another feature of this site that is pretty interesting, and it's called the dashboard. The dashboard is something that can provide spatial and summary statistics related to the data that is included on the project and can be based on one or more fields. In this example, we have a percent forest for each subbasin based on the forest categories from the NOAA CCAP land cover data set. So we aggregated forest for each of the subbasins, and we included a percent. So if we click on one of the subbasins, you'll see that the percent forest is represented as a gauge. So this Big Quilcene River, for example, is 83% forested. Now, if we want to compare a subbasin to another, we can just simply hover over another subbasin to compare the percent difference in forest cover from one to another. Now, this is just one example of how we can create spatial statistics and represent geospatial information in the form of graphs and charts. This would allow stakeholders to track progress toward your goals for the IWMP focal components like forest cover. As you can see, ESA can easily support you in developing a web-based system that could be a great asset to those involved and interested in the ILF program and IWMP. We've built time into this in our budget, and we can develop this tool for you in a cost-effective manner. We think a tool like this is very compatible with open standard type approach that values information sharing and adaptive management and would help generate interest and support for understanding the IWMP and ILF programs. Thank you for your time.